think a big part of understanding life more and understanding the world more, understanding ourselves more, is recognizing that the more that you fear something, the more it happens. The more that you put energy into something, whether positive or negative, the more you're allowing that thought, that possibility to propagate throughout your daily life. The more that you allow something, your attention, the more that you focus on it, the more likely that it is to happen. And I think it's about recognizing it's almost regardless of whether that thought or emotion is positive or negative. Because, in some circumstances, we could see or we could fear great things happening in our lives. But then we allow that fear to control us, and that makes those great things to happen all the more likely. And on the other hand, on the positive side, the things that we focus on that we do want to happen, imagining those things happening, it makes those things then more likely to actually happen. When I say that the more that you fear, the more that it happens, I mean in the sense that as long as we're controlled by our fear, as long as we allow the fear of things that we don't want to happen to exist within our minds, then we allow that thing happening to become a possibility. It's almost in the sense that, and this was something I was thinking about a few days ago, but, who do you think is going to do something less? The person who's terrified of doing it, or the person who doesn't know that doing it is a possibility? And I know that seems a bit, out there. But I really just mean it in the sense that I think as long as we're not afraid of things happening, then those things won't happen in our lives. It's almost about recognizing and almost living on the fence between what we want to happen and what we don't want to happen. Equally accepting both, but focusing on the positive. Because then that allows that positive to propagate throughout our lives. And, that's not to say that we should abandon all our morals, abandon everything that we don't think is right, and basically just allow ourselves to do whatever we want. That's not what I'm saying. But I mean that the fear of doing something wrong is what prevents you from doing something right. Because regardless of the tone that energy has, regardless of whether that energy is positive or negative, it's still energy that you're putting towards it. It's almost in the sense in the Bible where it says that you should flee from lust and that you shouldn't fight it. Because fighting is almost in putting yourself under the assumption that there's something to fight against and that the battle hasn't already been won. In the sense that fighting against it is what gives it more power, it's what gives it more control over your life. So it's almost about running from it, but not from a place of I'm not above it, but rather from a place of this is not necessary for me. I don't feel any strong emotion, both positive or negative, but I'm focusing on the positive, the gratitude of not needing to do this any longer. And that's something that's really helped me in terms of, just breaking bad habits, breaking some of the bad addictions that I used to have. Recognizing it's almost about not feeling any emotion when you do it at all. Not being afraid of falling sometimes. And when you're no longer afraid of that, when you're no longer afraid, you're no longer putting that much emotional conviction. And you're almost no longer feeling shame. But then you're focusing on the gratitude of already overcoming it, then you'll almost just naturally flow in a direction where you no longer do it anyways. So when I say that, the more that you fear, the more it happens, I mean in the sense that as long as we're trying to cope, as long as we're trying to deflect, as long as we're trying to distract ourselves from something, we're almost acting under the assumption that there's something to distract ourselves from. And that idea is what allows it to happen more and more in our lives. It's what allows those negative circumstances from existing within our lives. So it's almost about recognizing that regardless of the physical circumstances that we find ourselves in, regardless of what we see happening around us, it's almost about accepting what is, but then focusing on what you want to happen. And accepting isn't just, okay, like this is what it is, this will never change. But rather it's just saying, this is what it is. not feeling any strong or negative emotional conviction towards it, not putting any energy towards it, and rather putting gratitude, positive emotion towards what you want to happen. And I think that if we do that authentically, then it's what allows those positive things to happen in our lives. So I just think it's important that in anything that we're dealing with, in any negative circumstances that we have, it's not about necessarily being afraid of feeling negative. It's not about being afraid of doing negative things. But rather it's about almost being indifferent on whether those negative events or circumstances happen. But then focusing on the gratitude that we're already above them, that we've already overcome them. And then I think that allows us to naturally flow in a direction where we have overcome them. And then before you even recognize it, you're already over it. It's something, this is just a thought that I've had, especially today. But it's something that's helped me get over a lot of just negative things in my life. Almost recognizing it's about almost existing on the fence, but then pointing your direction towards the positive. And then you'll just naturally flow towards that positive side. It's almost like the saying, a tree falls the way that it leans. So it's about leaning in a direction of where you want to be, rather than trying to avoid a direction that you don't want to be. The Bible verse I have for this video was taken from Psalms 23, verse 4. And it says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." So we've already, as children of God, we've already been freed from any fear. We've already been freed from any negativity. So I think that trying to cope with the negativity, trying to distract ourselves, and almost being afraid of negativity is exactly what allows that negativity to continue to exist in our lives. So I think a lot of it is about recognizing that we've already overcome it. That there's nothing to be afraid of because there's no negativity in our lives. There's no negativity in the kingdom of heaven. So, I took something from this video, and thank you for watching.